What's up guys, it's All the Cars here, and first I apologize, I'm a little just coming over this nasty cold I've had for the past week, but it's almost that time of year again. Tax return time. Some people get money back, others don't. I know a lot of people who get money back are looking to buy a new vehicle, but don't let a used car salesman swindle you into something that you shouldn't even own. They don't care about you and they'll tell you whatever it takes to get the car off the lot and so that it's no longer their problem. In fact, me and my friends actually made a meme specifically for this scenario. I see it all the time, people complaining in Facebook groups about getting burnt on a used car when they bought a vehicle that they should have known was going to be a disaster. Some of you guys already know this, but I'm a mechanic, and since I'm lazy, I don't want to work on your car if I don't have to. But I am going to give you a list of the top 10 cars that I think you should absolutely never blow your tax return on. And I'm going to tell you about what I see with each of them the most often. We're going to start this off swinging with probably one of my least favorite vehicles ever to exist. The 2010 to 2017 Chevy Equinox and GMC Terrain. I could actually make a hate video probably an hour long on how much I hate these things. They're not good vehicles at all, and for some reason everyone bought a million of them. And every single time I see one of these stupid things coming up behind me Anyways, don't buy one of these unless you want to be doing expensive repairs regularly. Every single one of them is gonna burn oil. That's what they do. The 2.4 they put in them is garbage. It doesn't matter how well they're maintained. It doesn't matter who owned it, if it was abused, it's just gonna be a piece of garbage. Like I said, the engines burn oil, it can clog up the cat, so then you need a new cat. The exhaust manifolds like to crack on them. Typical GM wheel bearing stuff. The dash out is a common thing for the blower door because that likes to fail. So you don't get heat. The PCV valve likes to clog up and then cause the rear main seal to blow out. That's always a lot of fun. And these are just horrible, horrible, horrible vehicles with no redeeming qualities. There's no reason to buy one of these when a RAV4 or a CRV exists. Yeah, don't buy one of those. Next on the list, we have another vehicle that I don't like at all either. The 2009 to 2017 era Chevy Traverse, Buick Enclave, and GMC Acadia. Those are also garbage. The 3.6 sucks. The timing chain recommended interval on those engines is every 30,000 miles, which for a timing chain is absurd. A lot of them are neglected because they're cheap and throwaway vehicles. And so the oil changes haven't been kept on, which definitely helps lead to the timing chain filling a little bit faster. The rear control arms are also known to go bad very, very often. Another thing is, this is very common, the power steering pump and steering rack both like to go out. To do either one of those is a subframe out job, and it's kind of an all-day job, and it's an expensive job. So avoid those, they suck. They don't have any redeeming qualities. They don't even look good. They look like a bull borb off of Pikmin, if you know what that is. Yeah, not very good vehicles. Everything on them is just designed so stupid, and I mean, if you're not working on it yourself, you're probably not gonna care, but they're just not very reliable and they're not very well built. Doing a lot of stuff on them is expensive and a hassle. Next on the list, the 3rd gen Ford Escape in the 2017 update came with a 1.5 liter EcoBoost engine. Do not buy one of those. They are very, very prone to head gasket failure. We have diagnosed many of them with bad head gaskets. We actually had one recently that we already diagnosed it once with a bad head gasket. They got a new engine put in because a lot of the time it's cheaper and easier to just put a new engine in than do a head gasket. And now on the new engine, the head gasket's bad. So if that goes to show you anything, it should show you to avoid that vehicle with that engine. It's not very good at all. I've also seen some weird stuff, like the rear differential going out. it seems to be somewhat common on those as well. I haven't seen it too much, but I've seen it enough where it would be something that you want to consider, and you don't want to put a used diff in that because it's probably going to do the same thing and start making noise. Next up is the Chevy Cruze, which I gotta admit, I have not seen an engine actually fail on a Chevy Cruze, but they leak coolant and oil like nobody's business. It's actually pretty impressive. I've never seen a car leak coolant as fast as these do. We actually have had them come in once for a coolant leak, and then the next week they're back in for a completely separate coolant leak that wasn't there the week before. They're just kind of throwaway cars. They're not very nice. They are cheap, and from what I see, they are fairly reliable, but you're going to be fighting oil leaks and coolant leaks like crazy if you buy one of those. And they're usually pretty major. I mean, it's all usually replaceable stuff, but how much money do you really want to sink into a car that is worth, what, $3,000 at most at the end of the day? So yeah, I would avoid those. Also, the 1.8s have a giant coil pack that runs across the top of the engine. Those can get pricey because they do go out. If one coil goes bad, the whole thing's bad. And then a lot of the time when you're trying to take it out in the first place, it likes to break. So that is another issue with those. Just avoid them. I mean, if you can, avoid them. Another one, and this is a little hypocritical of me because it's what I drive a lot of, but any old luxury car. And the reason I say this is because even a lot of these Lexuses and Infinitis, they're pretty beat. A lot of them ended up being takeover cars. A lot of the older German stuff is really unreliable because it's an old German car. You're going to be paying a lot of money for parts. It might look like a good deal at the time, but trust me, it's gonna come back and bite you later. And these Lexuses can be reliable, but again, as I've talked about in some of my GS300 videos and stuff, just a lot of stupid small stuff just comes with age on these things, and it can be kind of hard to find parts and source parts. So avoid those. They'll end up being a way bigger hassle than they're worth, and unless you know all the maintenance history and who owned it before, I would definitely avoid any old luxury cars. They can be good cars, don't get me wrong, but you kind of have to know where it's been, because once they get on the second or third owner, usually they get seriously neglected, and maintenance gets neglected, and a lot of these German cars have a lot tighter maintenance things than a lot of American cars, so a lot of people try and treat it like an American car when you really can't. Next up, and this is going to make a lot of people mad, but I don't care. This needs to be said. Don't buy a Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram. They're all garbage. Nothing they make is a vehicle I would ever have in my driveway. Every single engine they've made I've seen fail in the recent years. The oil coolers on the 3.6s too, you're gonna probably be doing that eventually. And just to put this into perspective, we try and use OEM parts when we work on these. Last time we did an oil cooler on one, we called the dealer to order an oil cooler, and the dealer said on the phone, "I cannot promise you this will fix the problem," which just goes to show what kind of quality they're putting out. My buddy sent a picture the other day of, I guess, Jeep on the newer Cherokees put a screw right through the wiring harness with what looks like no insulation, which is insane. They just make so many stupid backwards engineering choices, and I mean, everyone loves to talk about how reliable the 3.6 is, but I see so many issues with those, it's nuts. And the 5.7s too, even. We've told several people in 1 week that they have bad 5.7s. And don't even get me started on any of the older ones. The 4 cylinders too, the Jeep Renegades are terrible. The CVTs are awful, the engines are awful, even the manual transmissions in those are awful, which it's pretty impressive if you can mess up a manual like that. But yeah, don't buy one of those. They are horrible. They're on revision Q of a thermostat. And if you know how revisions work and you've been in the automotive world, you know they start at A, B, C, just like the alphabet. They're on revision Q of a thermostat. Let that sink in. But anyways, don't buy one of those. They are not good. And you will almost certainly end up paying more money in the long run. And I mean, another thing too, there's what I like to call the Dodge Dart effect, which is what I see on a lot of newer vehicles, where I see so many of them out when they first come out, and now they're basically non-existent. They've been non-existent for a few years too, and like they made them pretty late. Like they were less than 5 years old, and I stopped seeing them altogether. Dodge Journeys are starting to hit that too, which those things are garbage as well. Don't buy one for obvious reasons. Anyways, on to my next vehicle. The next vehicle is any Nissan with a CVT. This is getting to the point where people who aren't even in the cars know this. If you saw my last video, Zach bought a Nissan with a blown CVT with 34,000 miles. Which, what does that say? You're supposed to flush the fluid on these CVTs every 30,000 miles, but nobody does partially because of Nissan's business model where they just build cheap cars that they want to pump out the door and get as much profit as they can without really putting much effort into the product. I've seen so many bad CVTs in Nissans at my current job. Apart from that though, the engines are actually fairly reliable. I mean, the VQ35 is as much as a lot of people don't like that engine, it's not my favorite engine, but it is durable and it makes decent power for what it is. It's just the CVTs that Nissan puts in their stuff are not good at all. They don't hold up. This is another one where unless you know the history and know that someone has been on top of those CVT flushes, avoid them at all costs because you are going to have to put a transmission in it. It's not even a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Next on the list is any Korean vehicle. And this is going to make a lot of people upset too, but I don't care. They're horrible. Actually horrible. I know, ooh, you get a warranty. Oh, who cares if you get a warranty when they're 3 months out at the dealership and don't have a loaner car and you have to rent a car for 3 months? Where's the sense in that? And everyone says they've changed. They haven't changed. My buddy at the Nissan dealership is doing engines on Hyundais and Kias on like brand new Palisades because they can't keep up at the Hyundai dealership. So they haven't changed. They're still making junk. It's just flashy junk now. They're cheap for a reason. We've diagnosed quite a few engines on them at my work. In fact, if you go to the local dealership, the entire back wall is lined up with engines ready to go into cars. I can't fathom what goes through the people's heads who buy those. And there was the whole Kia Boys thing too, where people were just stealing them left and right. They're not very good cars. Again, yeah, they come with all these stupid features that nobody really needs, but who cares when it's going to be an unreliable piece of crap. So don't buy a Korean vehicle. If a deal is too good to be true on one, it's probably about to blow up because that's what they do. And they're not even putting new engines in these things either. They're putting used engines in because they don't have enough new engines to keep up with the demand. So what does that say? Next on the list is the automatic Ford Focus 3rd generation. That actually is pretty well known for the transmission as well. A lot of automatic transmissions suck, surprise, surprise. But the DCT automatic in those 2-speed is really known for failure. I don't remember for sure, but I think there was a lawsuit against Ford about that transmission. It's pretty bad. I've seen quite a few of them fail at work. It's super common on those. I don't even think they make new ones anymore, so you're gonna have to go for a used one. But unless you want to put transmissions in a car all day, avoid those focuses with an automatic. The manuals are fine, and the engines aren't too bad. I believe they're still using the Ford and Mazda joint Duratec engine, and that's a pretty solid engine. I had a 2.5 Mazda 3, and that car was bulletproof. If you want a car that you should buy with your tax return, it's something with a 2.5. That's a great engine. Don't buy a Focus in an automatic. It's not going to be a good car. Well, apart from the transmission, it'll be fine, but that's kind of a big deal. Last on the list, and this is kind of common knowledge for anyone who knows trucks, do not buy a 5.4 Triton F-150. Specifically the 11th gen. Not only are they, the only thing that it has on a GM T800 from the similar era is the transmission is stronger. But when the frame rots in half, like almost every single one of these trucks that comes through my work at this point, we're scared to lift because the frames are so bad on them. They just crack and it runs along the whole side, and then when we lift it on the hoist, we can hear it crunching under the weight, and it's pretty scary. It's also the engine known for ejecting spark plugs. That's not fun, and the spark plugs like to break off in the block, and you need a special tool to extract them. That's never cheap. The 5.4 is not even that good of an engine either. I've seen them blow up all the time. The cam phasers go bad on them, timing chains, it's just not a truck you're gonna want to own. And there's so much better trucks for the money. Like I said, GMT 800s all day long over that. So yeah, that's my list of 10 vehicles that you should not touch with a 10-foot pole with your tax return money. I hope this video reaches the right people, but it probably will just reach car guys, so whatever. But stay tuned, I have some really cool stuff coming up pretty soon. The weather is getting better slowly but surely. This has been the longest winter of my life, but I will see you in the next one. Bye.